I'm extraordinarily proud to introduce Alumna of Notre Dame, Scott DeMaria, to deliver our commencement address. Haley.
Thank you, Father John. Members of the Board of Trustees, fellow honorees, Father Jenkins, honored guests, family, friends, and most importantly, the class of 2012. Welcome and thank you. It is a true privilege to share this day with you, to be honored with a degree as you are honored with your degrees, and for me to join the class of 2012. When Father John called to invite me to be your speaker, he first mentioned that the university wanted to give me an honorary degree. That news alone was so overwhelming and unexpected that I actually missed the part where he invited me to give the commencement address. It wasn't until I read a copy of the press release that I realized I was to be your speaker. Over the next several days, I thought to myself many times, wow, I can't believe Notre Dame invited me to be their speaker. Perhaps some of you thought the same thing. As I stand before you today, we have many things in common. The list of those who have stood at this podium before me is certainly impressive, and I am honored to be added to that list. However, there are two words I can share with you that few before me can. I understand. I understand what it's like to sit where you sit as graduates of the University of Notre Dame. I understand that while football weekends are awesome, it can sometimes be annoying to have the quads in the bookstore crowded with alumni, people like me, and soon you. I understand the fun and challenges of parietals, du lac, and pig tostel. I understand what it's like to lose a classmate in a very tragic way. As graduates, all Notre Dame alumni celebrate today with you. But the class of 2012 and my undergraduate class of 1995 share sadness as well. The loss of life at a young age is an emotional experience that will stay with you long after you graduate. I understand. You will find as you navigate through life, the words "I understand" are very powerful when they are sincere and honest. These words carry the strongest meaning when spoken by someone who has lived through a similar experience. I also understand that today is not about my story and me. I have no political agenda or platform to promote. Today, I share with you how my experience as a student and an alumna of Notre Dame relates to you, your lives, and the future experiences you will have as graduates of this university. It is often said that college is the best 4 years of your life, or 5 if you're an anarchy. But I disagree. I promise you that while your time here at Notre Dame has been special and unique, it is not all downhill after today. The best is yet to come. What that best looks like, none of us can know. But you are prepared for your next adventure, and you are prepared well. Look around you, at your roommate, your classmates, perhaps a teammate or a professor. Think of how much you have learned from them. They have made you a better person, as you have made them. That is who we are at Notre Dame. As anyone who's experienced the student section at the Purcell Pavilion or the Compton Family Arena or here in this stadium knows, our strongest trait is our community. Though each of us has to find our own way, none of us at Notre Dame does this alone. You have learned from the best just by being here. The most significant lessons, however, might not necessarily have occurred in a classroom. Academics are important, and we celebrate that today. I have a degree in history, which is wildly popular with my children as I explain the historical significance of every location we visit. But an education is so much more than textbooks, going to class, and taking exams. As a member of the Notre Dame family, I learned what is truly important in life: gratitude and making a difference. It is easy to make a living. It is more gratifying to make a difference. I am often asked, I'm often asked, do you wish your accident had never happened? And believe it or not, this question does not elicit a simple answer. Yes, I wish every day that my two teammates had the opportunity to sit where you sit. But I also know that everything I have, my family, my children, my friendships, and everything I am has evolved from this tragic event and my time here at Notre Dame. So the answer is a paradox. Yes, I wish it had never happened. But I am so grateful for the blessings that I have learned, how I've grown, and the opportunities I have to make a difference. This is perhaps the greatest lesson I learned here at Notre Dame, that life may not take you down the path you planned, but with the foundation you have laid here at Notre Dame, it can still be a very good path. We can't change the past. There are events in our lives over which we have no control, but what we can control is how we react to them. I truly believe this. I truly believe that each of us has a choice every day, that each of us can wake up tomorrow and find something negative in our lives on which to focus, but that each of us can also wake up tomorrow and celebrate the blessings in our lives. This is certainly easier to do on some days more than others, but even in our darkest days, we can choose the brighter path, the one of gratitude. This is more than the glass half full or half empty. This is a choice, and I challenge you to make this choice every day. Do you wake up tomorrow upset that you have graduated and you're leaving Notre Dame? Or do you wake up tomorrow celebrating your accomplishments and looking forward to the bright future that you have? That is your choice. It is all a matter of perspective. Perspective is a really important word to me. I learned perspective from a man named Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve was a famous actor in the 1970s and 80s. Your parents know him, perhaps you do too. He was Superman by many definitions, but literally the lead in the Superman movies of the 1980s. Handsome, tall, charismatic. I hesitate to compare him to a current actor, but before there were Ryan Gosling and George Clooney, there was Christopher Reeve. The week I graduated from Notre Dame, Mr. Reeve was involved in a horse riding accident, shattered 2 vertebrae, suffered spinal damage, and was left paralyzed. As you can imagine, I took a keen interest in his story, not only because I had grown up with his movies, but because I felt a kinship with what he was experiencing. I understood. Mr. Reeve did not recover as I did. He never walked again. Yet he lived the remaining years of his life as a remarkable advocate for spinal research, raising millions of dollars and awareness for the cause. Does his family wish his accident had never happened? Of course. But I know there are thousands of spinal injury patients who are grateful for his efforts, for his decision to wake up each day and see the blessings in a situation he could not change. But that is only part of my lesson and education and perspective. I had the great privilege of meeting Christopher Reeve a few years after his accident. He asked me about my injury, I asked him about his. Our descriptions were remarkably similar. He shattered 2 cervical vertebrae, I shattered 3 thoracic vertebrae. We both suffered spinal damage that resulted in paralysis. In fact, except for the location of our injuries, they were identical. And what Mr. Reeve said next to me changed my life. Knowing that we shared a similar injury and a different fate, he looked at me and said, you're one of the lucky ones. And I knew at that moment that I was. Multiple surgeries, heart failure, lungs collapsing, ongoing nerve damage, spending months in the hospital when I should have been with my friends at Notre Dame. There was many negatives on which to focus, and yet I knew at that moment that I was lucky, that I was blessed. That is perspective, and it is with that perspective that I choose to live my life. And just to note, to make sure I had the exact details of Christopher Reeve's injury, I Googled Christopher Reeve, and thankfully, unlike your graduation speaker, he does have a Wikipedia page. There are 3 things that have sustained me and that have carried me through my challenges and have rejoiced with me: my faith, my family, and my friendships. While academically 3 F's would not be celebrated, in life they are to be embraced: faith, family, and friendship. Notre Dame is a community of faith. You have lived it for 4 years. You will be sustained by it for the rest of your life. Just as the words, "I understand," are powerful when spoken truthfully, so too are the words, "I will pray for you." The power of prayer is just that, powerful. It's why we flock to the grotto, and why on any given day, particularly during exam week, light from hundreds of these candles burn for our prayers, because we believe in that power. Believe in it, trust in it, and nurture it. About 5 years ago, I met a woman who had just moved to our town. She was a new parent at our children's school, and I was wearing a Notre Dame swimming t-shirt, because as an alum, you will spend even more money at the bookstore. But she noticed my t-shirt, and she asked me, "Did you go to Notre Dame?" I said, "I did." She looked at my shirt and she said, "Were you on the swim team?" I said, "I was." She then looked at me and asked, "Were you in the bus accident?" And I quietly nodded yes. And she looked at me and asked, "Whatever happened to that girl who was paralyzed?" And I quietly responded, "That was me." Then this woman, who I had just met for the first time 15 years after our swim team's bus accident, looked at me and said, "I prayed for you." That is the power of faith. That is the power of prayer. Believe in it and trust in it. It is important to nurture all relationships because along with our faith, they are the most important aspects of our lives. At times, our family relationships and our friendships and even our faith may falter, but when one is weakened, the other two will sustain you. Family, faith, and friendship, those are your guiding forces. But I'm not unrealistic. As you graduate today and begin your careers, there will be bills to pay, rent and mortgages to figure out, and life expenses that increase when you are no longer a student. Your job, whether you work inside or outside the home, will consume great amounts of your time, dedication, and energy. My advice to you is this: love what you do. Believe in a cause and make it your passion. Find your passion and make it your career, because in doing so, you will make a difference. As an athlete and a competitor, I spent the first 18 years of my life focused on winning. Winning the race, winning the meet, being the first, and being the best. I'm sure many of you understand this concept of being the best and winning, although hopefully not in the Charlie Sheen way. But when I returned to swimming and won that first race, I spent 2 more years on the team, never winning another race again. Not one race after that first time. It was the first of the odds I could not overcome. I had been told I wouldn't walk, I did. I'd been told I would never swim again, and I did. I was told I would be in the hospital up to a year learning to walk again, and it was just a few months. I was told I would walk with some sort of leg braces, and I walk unaided. I was told I may not be as fast a swimmer as I was before, and I wasn't. For someone who had spent her entire life focused on winning, I had to face that reality and my limitations, and I had to accept them and embrace them if I was to live a happy and healthy life. I never won another race again at Notre Dame, but you would be hard-pressed to tell me that in all ways that matter, I did not win. That is perspective. What though the odds be great or small? What though the odds be great or small? We all are so excited for you. You leave here today as a proud graduate. You will return in 5, 10, 20 years even more proud to have graduated from Notre Dame. I know you will make the Lady on the Dome proud. I have no doubt the class of 2012 will change lives. You have the tools, the academic, social, emotional, and spiritual tools to commence your life as an alumnus. Congratulations. Today we celebrate you and all you have accomplished, but we also celebrate all you have ahead of you, a life filled with faith, friendships, and family, a life of gratitude and of making a difference. And as you leave here today, may the odds be ever in your favor. God bless, and go Irish.